Hello, I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Center. We're talking about how you unlock your potential, how you can increase your potential. And it comes down to three assets: your time, your mind, and your network. I'm going to unpack them, and the show begins right now.
You're listening to the Sales Hunter Podcast with Mark Hunter, where the focus is to help you as a sales leader sell with confidence and integrity. And now here's your host.
How well do you leverage your time, your mind, and your network? These are your three greatest assets. And for a salesperson, understanding how to master all three will take your sales to the next level. Hey, you're probably wondering who my guest is. It's me. I want to just share with you these. I want to unpack these. I talk about these in depth in my book, A Mind for Sales, but I never had a chance to unpack them in depth here on a podcast. Let me tell you something. It comes down to a very simple thing. You need to protect your time. You need to absolutely protect your time. 2, you need to grow your mind. And 3, you need to nurture your network. Let me give you some strategies and some ideas as to how you can run with each one of these. And then at the end, I'm going to share with you a few absolutely killer concepts that will help you take your sales to the next level. Because again, you master these three and you will unlock your potential. It's your time, your mind, and your network. First one really is time. You need to protect your time every day. You cannot allow time to control you. You need to control your time. And what does this mean? You need to own it. But here's the situation. It isn't just owning your calendar. It's owning your mindset to time. And it comes down to a few basic things. How do you start your day? One of the questions I love asking salespeople is, hey, how do you start your day? Because I have salespeople say, well, I'm a top performer. I'm a top performer. And I ask them the question, how do you start your day? And if they can't give me a definitive process as to how they start their day, they're not a top performer. Top performers own their day, and it starts with how they wake up in the morning. I have a very precise process I go through when I start my day. Absolutely, the absolute same. And I get up at the same time every day. The only wiggles and shakes is if I'm because of a flight or something like that might change. But the routine I go through in terms of my morning workout, my quiet time, the time I spend focused on my objectives and my outcomes absolutely does not change. You have to own the start of the day. 2, 10 a.m. rule. 10 a.m. rule. This is a game changer. Every time I present this to a sales organization, it's amazing how people jump on this. 10 a.m. rule says this. You set your alarm to go off at 10 a.m. Better not be the time you get up in the morning. But what it is you want to have accomplished something significant by 10 a.m. By 10 a.m. There's something magical about this. If you can accomplish something significant before 10 a.m., it's going to make your day. You're going to feel so much more jazzed, so much more pumped. It's going to be unbelievable. But you're also going to get that big thing out of the way. Too many times what I see is salespeople will sit there and say, well, I got to get this done, this done, this done. But they don't do the major thing until the afternoon. Something comes up. And then what happens is that something big doesn't get done. And they just put, well, it's okay. I'll take care of it tomorrow morning. Yeah, but here's the deal. You just pushed it off. Get that done first thing in the morning. That's why I say the 10 a.m. rule. Get something significant before 10 a.m. Because then if your day does fall apart, you still had a very successful day. Third thing is repetition. Yes, you control your time. You own your time by being repetitive in your tasks. Too much time is wasted because we're doing too many one-off things. This is why, again, top performers will tell me that they have an absolute repetitive process that they adhere to. In other words, they make the X number of phone calls every day at the exact same time. They do the X number of email. They do all of these things are repetitive tasks. The more you can make what you do repetitive, and think about it, AI is going to help you do this so efficiently. AI tools. I'm not saying that AI is replacing you, but AI is complementing you. Next one, know your metrics. Know your metrics. What are the absolute killer things that you have to achieve every day to be successful? Now, your metrics are not 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things. No, your metrics are just one or two things. One or two things that you know if you do this every day, you will be successful in sales. And again, this is how you protect your time. If you put too many things in that you got to get done every day, what happens is you wind up you hyperventilate and you don't get any of them done. My metrics, I have one metric. It's making 5 conversations a day. In other words, I know that if I have 5 conversations a day with either clients, prospects, or people who can refer me, if I have 5 of those conversations a day, my business is good. Now, I know that in order to have those 5 conversations a day, I got to do X number of emails, X number of voicemail messages, emails, et cetera, et cetera. But what I'm measuring is the output. I'm measuring the output. This is the whole thing. Controlling your time is about measuring the output. So know your metrics, whatever your metrics are. Next one is what I call the 2x4 principle. 2x4. This is a simple concept. If you think of a 2x4, no, you don't take a 2x4 to your head, but you block your day into 4 2-hour blocks, 4 2-hour blocks, and you focus each 2-hour block on a specific activity. Now, some of you might say, Mark, I can't do that. Fine. Okay. So maybe it's just 4 1-hour blocks and you're leaving 4 hours for other stuff. I don't care what it is, but by blocking your time is absolutely critical. And when you block your time, that's all you're doing. You are just 100% zero focus on it. I set aside a prospecting time each day. Prospect time. Boom, boom. Yeah. And I know I get that done. See, here's the whole thing. Tomorrow begins today. Tomorrow begins today. And what I mean by that? That means you plan out tomorrow, today. In other words, before I end today, I will review my calendar. I'll go through and I'll figure out exactly what my activities are going to be for tomorrow. I plan tomorrow out well. And what does that do? It allows me to start the day much more in control and prepared. Because then when I'm going through my morning routine, I'm just reviewing that. I'm not having to plan it. I'm just reviewing it. And I'm able to take action that much faster. Here's the other thing. Ask yourself this question. Who can I have help me with this so I don't have to? There's a book out by, I forget the person's name now, but it's called Who, Not How. Who, Not How. And what this comes down to is very simply this. Do I want to know how to do something or I want to know who can help me? And it really comes down to who can help me. This is absolutely critical. And it's mind masterful because again, if there are activities that you can outsource them. So that's all around protecting your time. Let's talk about how do you grow your mind. First of all, I want you to ask yourself, what are your 1-year, 5-year, and 25-year goals? Whoa, did I just blow you out of the water on that? I probably did. People have 1-year goals. Some people have 5-year goals, but very few people I know have 25-year goals. That's a game changer. But stop and think about this. I've watched people put together 25-year goals. And what very simply happens is they wind up achieving them in about 10 or 12 years. It really is amazing. Now, remember, you don't put together a goal without putting together a plan to achieve it. So, a goal without a plan is a dream. I'm not talking that. What I'm talking about is very specific goals. But I want you to ask yourself, and then you begin backing in, what are the very specific activities I have to do to achieve that? I have found this when I have consistently done this pattern. And even today, I still have a 25-year goal. Yeah. And I don't know if I'm going to be around in 25 years, but it keeps driving me forward because it has me continually ask myself, what is the knowledge I need to learn to help me achieve that? Because every day I want to be learning something new. This takes me to my second piece here in personal accountability. If you can't be personally accountable to who you are, you're never going to be successful. I have never known a successful person who does not demonstrate a high level of personal accountability. This means when they say they're going to do something, they do it. This means when they say they're going to learn something, they do it. They don't think about it. They just do it. And that's the difference between a doer and a non-doer. So ask yourself, how do I demonstrate and how do I have personal accountability? It starts with your calendar. Now, there's a reason why I talked about time before talking about your mind, because I can't control and grow my mind until I first control my time. But personal accountability. Third thing there is learn something new each day you can share with someone tomorrow. Wake up every morning with the expressed intent of saying you want to learn something new. Because if you can learn something new each day that you can then share with a customer tomorrow, think about the knowledge base. What does that mean? It may mean that you got to read 15 to 20 minutes a day. Surprisingly enough, it doesn't take a lot to be brilliant, because brilliant isn't brilliant. Brilliant is just being smarter than those around you. I'm not trying to be arrogant and egotistical, but what I am trying to say is this. If you just spend 15 or 20 minutes a day reading about your industry, within probably a couple months, you're going to be smarter than probably most other people you're going to come up against in the industry. Next one, know your mission, know your purpose. You see, if we're going to grow our mind, what are we growing it into? What are we looking to put into it? So what's your mission? What's your mission in life, and what's your purpose? My mission, my purpose is really to influence and impact others in a positive manner. So what does that mean? I got to read a tremendous amount as to how to manage and lead myself. Because I can't lead, I can't influence anybody else, so I can first influence and lead myself. So yeah, but doing that, what happens? I'm now able to approach things with a much different level. I go back to an interview I saw with Becky Quick of CNBC. She was interviewing the late Charlie Munger. This was probably an interview about 10 years ago. Charlie Munger, Bill Gates, and Warren Buffett. Three pretty smart people. Now, like I said, this was about 10 years ago, and Charlie would have been probably about 90 years of age. Becky Quick asked the three of them, what books are you reading right now? And I can't remember what Warren said. I can't remember what Bill said. But Charlie Munger said he was reading a couple books on electrical engineering. Becky looked at him and said, what? He said, well, I've never felt I've known enough about electrical engineering. So I thought I needed to read up on it. And she said, Charlie, you're 90 years of age. Don't you think you can get by without it? No. He wasn't giving himself a pass. You see, that's a high level of personal accountability, and it's a high level of always having a desire to learn. Last piece on grow your mind, gratitude and attitude. One of the things that I do every morning before I start the day is I write down 10 things that I'm grateful for. 10 things. 10 things that I'm grateful for. It's amazing how it frames my mind in a different manner. It's amazing. Along with that, then, comes your attitude. Because my attitude is not one of scarcity. My attitude is one of abundance. See, I believe that we have a tremendous number of opportunities in front of us. It's just that we rarely see the majority of them. We rarely see them. We rarely do. Because we're too hunkered down in our bunker in a scarcity mindset versus an abundance mindset. When you have an abundance mindset and the attitude that goes along with it of being an optimist, it's amazing how you listen better, you hear better, you retain knowledge better, you learn more. Along with that, I should put a little side note in there. I look to give 3 referrals a week. It's part of my gratitude piece. I found this, that if I give 3 referrals a week to other people, first of all, it makes me feel really good. Really makes me feel good. Somebody will call me up and they'll ask me, hey, Mark, can you do this for us? I say, no, I can't, but let me connect you with so-and-so who can. Guess what? I've now made 2 raving fans. The raving fans I've made is the person who I referred, because then I'll say, thank you very much for giving me some additional business. And the person I referred them to very much likes me because I helped them solve a problem. There may be others who I just know that, wait a minute, I got this person over here and they got this person. I should connect the 2 of them together. By making referral connections, it's amazing how it changes your attitude. You know what the benefit of it is also? This isn't the reason you do it. You're going to wind up getting more referrals yourself. Let's go into networking. Nurture your network. Now, I ended that last thing talking about referrals because that's one of the beautiful things about your network, because many times your network is where the majority of your referrals come from. And I love to say this, you don't use your network, you nurture your network. Your network is something that needs to be watered and fed and taken care of. Your objective is to help everybody in your mastermind achieve success. The more you put into helping your network grow, and what do I mean by your network? Well, there's really three types. There's 5 people in your network, very small, very small. I'll call that your mastermind. Your mastermind group. These are people who understand and know you very well. And then there's 25 people who are kind of your influential circle. Again, these are very much people you're probably getting a lot of referrals from. You're giving referrals. These are your subject matter experts. Then there's 100 people out there in your contacts. 100 people out there in your contacts. And then you have 1,000 people that you just know. LinkedIn connections, people in your database. But what I found is by having these 4 levels, it is amazing how each one plays a key role, because there may be somebody who starts out in that 1,000. They're just part of your network. And I have a person like that. And then they quickly became part of my 100. Then they became part of my 25. And now they're an absolute close colleague of mine. They're part of my 5. The numbers aren't absolute. They could be 6 or 7, 3 or 4. They could be 25, 35, 40. They could be 100, 150. It doesn't matter. But the premise is that you have 5 people who are in your mastermind. These are people that you are very much intimate with from a business standpoint. You really work to support one another. There's 25 people who are your subject matter experts. These are your go-to people. Remember earlier when I said who, not how? These many times are the people that are going to help you find the who. Yeah. Because you got a challenge and they're going to say, who? You know what? I have somebody in my company that can do that for you. Whatever. Or I know somebody who I hired. They can do that for you. You have the 100 people who these are 100 people who you're just, associating with. You see at various maybe networking events. You're connected with them online. You have a relationship with them. And see, those people are probably one day moving up into the 25. And then you have the 1,000. But this is how you nurture your network. Now, let me share a couple things here, what this is all about. It's about legacy networking. What do I mean by legacy networking? Legacy networking is where your whole goal is to be able to influence and impact people in a positive manner. So that when you're not around, they're thinking about you. They're talking about you. Now, this isn't arrogance. This isn't cocky. This is being very serious. Because what it is that you want to make an influence on people. Think about this. Everyone's probably got a teacher that they remember, teacher that really influenced them. You may have a boss at one point in your career that you really remember. Well, guess what? Guess what? You know what? Somebody is probably saying that today about you, or somebody 10 years from now or 20 years will say that about you. They're probably in your network. They're in your network. Yeah. You see, you may have employees that are part of your 100. Yeah, very easily. You see, legacy networking is huge because it's all about impact and influence. Because I want people who respect me and think highly of me, not from an arrogant standpoint, but they're respectful and beneficial and thankful that they've been able to spend time with us. And we're thankful and beneficial for being able to have spent time with them. Yeah. What does this all come down to? It really comes down to this whole thing that Zig Ziglar used to say, the best way to achieve your goals is to help other people achieve their goals. See, I believe this, that you give without expectations of receiving anything in return. I love that. I love that. It's one of the reasons why people will call me and I'll help them out. I'll help them out. Not a problem. Very easy. Very easy to help them out. Why? Because I want to help them be successful. See, nurturing your network, it's not using your network. It's helping your network grow, because a rising tide lifts all boats. Let me share with you some thoughts here as we kind of begin to wrap this up here. And it really comes down to success is not what you achieve. Success is what you help others achieve. Stop and think about that. Success is not what you achieve. Success is what you help others achieve. But again, a rising tide lifts all boats. See, with each person we meet, we get to earn the right, the privilege, the honor, respect to be able to meet with that person again. That's huge. You want to be able to grow your network? That's how you do that. You want to be able to grow your mind? That's how you do that. You want to protect your time? That's how you do that. Because what you'll do is you'll find yourself dealing with more and more successful people. Because again, you do become the sum of the 5 people you associate with the most. Jim Rohn said that line years ago. So true. Our moms were so right when they say, be careful of who you play with at recess today at school. Pick your friends wisely. Yes. See, it comes down to this. Successful people have a big ego. Successful people have a big ego. It's all about empowering greater outcomes. Yeah. Successful people have a big ego, but it wasn't what you thought it was it? No. It's about empowering greater outcomes. When you empower greater outcomes in other people, it's amazing how you're going to empower greater outcomes in yourself. See, your 3 most valuable assets are your time, your mind, and your network. When you leverage those, it's amazing the success you'll have. All the content I've been sharing today comes out of my book, A Mind for Sales. I do encourage you to pick up a copy. And I've got a couple courses out in the Sales Hunter University on this very same thing. Because I truly believe you want to become a successful salesperson, master these 3. I'm Mark Hunter, the Sales Hunter. You've been listening to the Sales Hunter podcast, 2 episodes a week, one a long one like this, normally with a guest. But this week, just kind of unusual, just me. Second one, short, single topic for me. Why? Because I want to help you see and achieve what you didn't think was possible, because you're right. I want to empower you to achieve a greater outcome. Do me a favor. Would you leave me a review on your favorite podcast app? Hey, thanks so much. I'm Mark Hunter, Sales Hunter. Great selling.